Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Four Lads Rangers midweek pod. It's another one of those pods. It's the aftermath of, quite frankly, at times a mind-blowingly bad Rangers performance. There's going to be a lot of truth said tonight. Delighted, though, we are joined by a very special guest. William's here from the Hands Across the Water podcast, which is a little podcast he set up thinking that it would be fun to talk about Rangers over in Belfast. William, it's difficult. It's hard going at times. I'll unmute your mic, mate. Don't worry. William, you need to unmute your mic. Oh, mate. Kenny, just while I'll intro you, Kenny, while William gets himself sorted out. That was a good start. That was like Rangers last night. Yeah, that was wonderful. Kenny,
Do you know what the problem is? The man's get here. That's what the problem is. He's get here, and
our pod instantly hates him. That's what it is.
I know. I'll get him sorted.
Hopefully, he will just come back on very quickly once he sorts his mic. Sorry about that, folks. Where do we start? Kenny, gives us a chance, I think, to start with last night's vlog, which was, I would say, one of the most difficult ones we've had to do. Folks, we watch this live as it happens on the gantry, and sometimes it's really difficult to decipher what's happening right in front of our eyes. And Kenny, that was horrendous. And I think the thing is, like, people watching it back are like, why aren't you slating Russell Martin? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? It's not a podcast. We're reporting on what we're seeing on the game. We literally sat through it and said this team is wide apart. It is, the tactics are awful. The shape is non-existent. We said all that, and yet, I think it's lost somewhat in what we're trying to do and what we are saying. We're not going to have a little confab during the game and say this manager needs to go, etc. I think people just kind of need to understand what it is we're trying to do, because that was difficult last night. Because after 8 minutes, we're like, well, this tie's done. This game's over. What are we supposed to say?
Well, podcasts and vlogs are two different things, mate. And what we're doing on a vlog is basically commenting on the game. We're not getting into the overall reach of everything. And that is kind of where, as I said, there was a couple of comments last night with people saying, why aren't you slating Russell Martin? We're not there to slate Russell Martin when we're watching a game of football, but it is we did look horrified, because we were horrified last night. That's the thing. This is the problem that we have, Stevie. We're sitting watching that. You go in there full of hope and expectation last night, and it gets ripped right out your heart within 2 minutes, and it just gets a whole lot worse, to the point where it's embarrassing and it's humiliating as a Rangers supporter to sit there and watch that, and the full knowledge that everybody else that isn't a Rangers supporter is just their world's full of glee watching this, and that's the tough thing to kind of deal with. But that's what I would say about the vlog. It's just different. It's a different thing from a podcast where we will come on and we will openly state our opinion. The vlogs really aren't so much about that. That's all I'm saying.
William, have you returned triumphantly? Is it working yet? No, it's not working yet. So this is... Oh, hold on.
Is that it now?
Mate, welcome to the show. That was the most Rangers start to anything I have ever seen, mate. We and Kenny blame the fact that you've got hair. That's what it is, like, and you're just not like the Four Lads empire.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. I don't know what I'm usually the host, so I'm the one always with the buttons looking after the comments and the mics, and it just shows you when I'm changed position tonight, and everything went a bit wrong, a bit like Rangers start to the game yesterday.
It was funny because one of the comments says William's still ranting away on mute. He doesn't know that we're not hearing him. And I have to admit that made me chuckle, mate. But listen, William does the Hands Across the Water podcast, which he started. It's the first one of the kind for all the folks over in Northern Ireland. And honestly, it's absolutely brilliant. The numbers that are watching the Facebook page, the interaction, and it's fantastic, William, to have you on. Finally, after a little delay, you're just like Rangers, don't start well.
Don't start well, but hopefully it finishes a bit better, mate. But thank you for having us on. At the end of the day, the reason I wanted to start this, guys, is listening to the likes of yourselves, and I've been on your blogs for a long time as well, Stevie. I've followed you on Twitter and stuff, and yourself and Kenny, and I was just sort of thinking, we've got 20% of the Rangers supporters clubs are based over here in Northern Ireland. I think we've got 4 official shops, 3 of them in Glasgow, and 1 of them's here. And I'm thinking, where's the accents, from Northern Ireland? Why don't we get ourselves put on here and have a wee supporters base to represent as best as we can, because you can't represent everyone, obviously, for every range of supporters from here. But it just gives them a platform to sort of go, look, don't forget about us. There's still a lot of us over here. We're traveling all the time, and that's why we've done that. And I have to say, the support from Scotland has been second to none. And England, all around the world as well, who support Rangers. There's 28,000 now on our Facebook page. And the wee podcast, we've started YouTube now a few months. Like yourselves, come on, Stevie, and we really appreciate that. And it's doing really well, mate. So I have to say, a bit better than our team is at the minute. But thank you very much for having me on. I really do appreciate that.
We'll need to watch Natalie. She's already saying on your accent, mate. She was commenting me on my water bottle last week, so we'll keep a wee eye on her, mate. But listen, it's great to have you on. But sadly, folks, that's kind of where the pleasantries stop. What you're about to hear is our opinion. Bear that in mind. And that is really tough at this moment in time because we aren't in a good place. Things haven't started well. And there's a lot of emotion out there. We hadn't even started the podcast, and there was so many people already commenting. There was over 100 comments on the vlog last night. 13,000 people have watched that on YouTube, and we are not blind and deaf. We realise what the feedback is. We realise what people are saying. So we are not going to sit here and sugarcoat anything. But please bear in mind that when Kenny, William and myself speak, it is our opinion. And that, as much as it might resonate with you, if you disagree with things, just remember that's all it is. We're not here to say we're right. And when it comes to Russell Martin, Kenny, it's not getting any better. And last night, the first 20 minutes set the tone of what everybody's been warning. And that is that a decent team will take this Rangers team apart. And when they get a hold of us, potentially Bruges, Celtic have been mentioned as well, they're going to hurt us. We saw it in 20 minutes, what Bruges were capable of. But the worst thing about it, Kenny, is we were calamitous all over the park. It set the tone, and we were not well organised. We were not well set up. And we handed them on a plate 3 goals in a Champions League qualifier in a tie that's worth £50 million. We shot ourselves in the foot. And none of us can be surprised because it's been coming.
Yeah, it absolutely has been coming. And I said on Monday night on the show that if we weren't right on the top of our game, we'd get soundly beaten by that team because they are a good side. And they showed that. The sad thing for me is I don't think they even had to particularly show how good they were. I actually thought after about half an hour they slipped right into second gear. They didn't bother going through the gears at all. They didn't have to. They were just clearly miles better than us. But my issue with Rangers last night was that we were not in any way, shape, or form, in any way, cohesive at all. There was nothing about our game that you could turn and say, well, I can see a positive at all. There's nothing there, Stevie. We are not getting any better. That is a concern. And I understand what Russell Martin said in the press conference. We've only been here 7 weeks, and other clubs have only played a couple of games. Well, we are not other clubs. We are Rangers, and you knew this job and what it entails and the amount of games we're going to play, and to turn up so ill prepared and downright amateurish at times for a Champions League qualifier, a playoff chip for a Champions League, with that kind of money at stake, is tantamount to neglect, in my opinion. I thought we were absolutely rotten last night. Now, we've been rotten at times so far, but that we are getting worse. Last night, I found that, yeah, the only word I can use is embarrassing, Stevie. It was dreadful to watch.
William, the first 20 minutes, we handed a goal. The first one's excruciatingly painful to watch. But you can understand that people make mistakes. So what you want is a wee bit of leadership. You want them to set in, try and play their way into the game. They give Bruges a corner and stand and watch two guys at the edge of the box, one of which was picked out. It's not like he thunders it in the corner. He half hits it. It rolls in the corner pathetically. And before we've had time to know it, it's 3-0. And we've handed that. They started that move from their goalkeeper and moved it right through our team. The team is powder puff. There's no challenges. There's no aggression. We don't take a foul. They're running past people. Eventually, Rothwell kind of nods it straight to the boy. Danilo half-heartedly tries to get it and doesn't, and the boy thrashes it in the corner. And 20 minutes in, we are done and dusted. This tie is over. And it's the manner of it, William. I can't remember it as being... I would have to go back to a situation at Ibrox, and Kenny spoke about this, and he's absolutely bang on. He was the one that mentioned it. 94, 95 it was. Rangers were 3-0 down to Dundee United at Ibrox really, really early in the 90s, and the fans were streaming out. This was history repeating itself many years on, and it was the exact same. I don't remember a 20 minutes like that that's been quite as bad and quite as easy for the opposition as we made it for them last night.
Yeah, 100%. Mate. Basically, it was the 20 minutes of how poor we've been all season, all stuffed into that 20 minutes, really. Powder puff. The spine of our team hasn't really changed. If you look at the team, even from yesterday, Stevie, your goalkeeper's the same. Your centre back, who's your captain, is the same. Two of your midfielders are the same. Every striking option that we have is the same. And then we wonder why we are losing games so easily. Even like the last season, Stevie, the Motherwell results and stuff when they were going 2-0 up, Kilmarnock going 2-3 in front of us, and it's the same players, same issues all the time. Now Russell Martin will get a lot of stick, and that comes with the territory, and I don't think his style of football is that great. Doesn't seem to be working. But you also do have to look at some of these players as well that we're seeing, and it is the same culprits time and time again. The 20 minutes was an absolute disgrace. As I say, speaking as a supporter from over here, there's guys maybe getting home last night 2 a.m, 3 a.m, 4 a.m, after travelling to see their team. They do all that travelling very early in the morning to get to the match. You get onto your boat by the time you do your 2-hour sail, then you do your 2-hour travelling to the game, and you're seeing after 7 minutes, your Rangers team capitulate in front of your eyes and they tie over in 20 minutes. That's not good. I don't know how, I'm sure, I can't see the comments, but I'm sure the comments, everyone's furious, and they're right to be. But I just thought it was poor all over, Stevie, to be honest, mate. And as I say, there's culprits there that are poor. I thought we'd done okay. Some of the new guys have tried. The left-hand side, that guy was thrown into left back. I don't want to give him too much trouble. Like, I thought he done okay coming into the game for his first time. Only had one training session, I think, or so before he came in. Maybe that's why he played well, because he's only had one. He hasn't been able to do a couple of training sessions with this team to turn into their level. But yeah, mate, no, the first 20 minutes was an absolute disgrace. And as I say, I was watching the game with a lot of my mates, my father and stuff, and we were all sitting there, and it was actually silence until we started to get angry after the 20 minutes and started talking about it. But we were just sitting there stunned. And it's just not good enough, Stevie.
Certainly not good enough. Kenny, this is where reality bites a wee bit. We cannot hide from this. And there's no point in hiding from this. And this is where it gets tricky. And William, I'm going to ask you the same thing. But reality bit a wee bit last night. Ibrox was toxic. It was vitriolic at points. There was anger. They were booed off. They were booed on for the second half. And fans leaving in their droves at 3-0. There's no point in sugarcoating this. Fans don't want them. They never wanted them in the start. They certainly don't want them now. And the issue is that mindset for many people will not change. And we can sit here and we can say that after 7 weeks, that's ridiculous. Because in the world of football, asking for somebody to go after 7 weeks is ridiculous. And the monumental challenge that he was trying to turn around, all the context to it is kind of ridiculous. However, that first half last night, that was failure. And the fans can see that. And they're not going to be fooled by sound bites and what we're supposed to look like and what we're supposed to be. If you want a buy-in from the fans, you have to give them something to buy into. And we're not. And there's no patience for it. And we have to be honest, because that's what we were hearing last night. That's what we were seeing. That's what people were saying to us. Russell Martin is at the end game already, and we are 6 games in. And it took Clement a year. It took Bale a year to get there. He's there within 6 games. And there's no point trying to sugarcoat it, boys. Ibrox last night was toxic, and they're already where they are with people that have been there for a year, Kenny. And it was difficult to be in amongst.
It was, and I could say this without fear, that if we had lost another goal in that first half, you'd have been lucky if it had been 15,000 left at half time. There would have been a mass walkout, Stevie. And the new owners were there. They seen it. They heard it. It maybe has taken them aback a little bit about the depth of anger. But I said this before we come on. And I'm repeating myself because I've said it many times before on here. There is no patience left amongst Rangers supporters. We've had far too long of, people or managers saying, Philip Clement, the prime example last season, my team will be better in October. Well, it wasn't. Russell Martin says the same. We're going to go through pain, but we will be better. Well, there's no evidence to suggest that's going to happen. None whatsoever. The only thing that matters at Rangers is results. You must get results. You must win games. And at this minute in time, we haven't won a league game. We've been fairly fortunate in a couple of other games that we've managed to see ourselves through Champions League ties and stuff. But the issue for me, more than anything last night is, and I'm going to swear here, so forgive me, but there's an old saying, don't bullshit a bullshitter. Now, we have sat here and watched Rangers for far too long and been told all these things, and we're not buying it. And that's Russell Martin's problem. It is also the new owner's problem. We are not buying into this already. Because we've seen it all before, and that is their problem to address, and they need to fix it. And the only way Russell Martin can do that is to get results. He's going to have to. Our next 5 games, I believe, are Mirren, Brugges, Celtic, Hearts, and Hibs. Now, at this minute in time, I am genuinely not convinced we can win a single game the way we are playing. That's how bad we are. So if this is not a wake-up call for Russell Martin, his backroom staff, for those new players, for the excuse that we have for players that are in this squad that have been here long term, and the new owners, if this is not a wake-up call for them, that the first thing that you have to understand is you don't get time at this football club. There is no such thing as patience anymore, and that is where we're at. And it all sounds dead dramatic, doesn't it, when you say it like that? But it's a fact. All you need to do is look at our comment section, go onto Twitter, go anywhere, and look and see how Rangers fans are feeling. And we've had enough of this already. So we have a major issue on our hands that, frankly, Stevie, well, I have no idea how we're going to fix this short term. Never mind long term. I can't see a short term solution to this. But the buck ultimately will always stop with the manager. But as I say, to round this off, the new owners need to be fully aware of where their fan base, their customer base, and the support is.
William, it's almost inconceivable that we're in this position already, but it would be disingenuous to sit here and say everything's okay and the fans are just upset at a result. The fans aren't upset at any result. This is fans that didn't want him here in the first place and want him out really quickly. And people have already decided how this ends. They now just want to get there. And the hardest thing is trying to keep the context of what he's trying to do and the job he's trying to do and the magnitude of it, which is deal with a dressing room which is toxic, deal with a football club that literally needs turnaround. It's trying to change everything, but it's undeniable that people don't want him here. And last night we saw it full on in our faces in 20 minutes of that game, half time, coming out, even full time a little bit. We can't sit here and deny that. And you only have to see the reaction from people to realise that this is going to take an enormity to turn around even this early. And I'm sorry, like I still, it may be silly, but I'm still shocked that we're in this position already. And people just don't have any tolerance level for it at all.
Yeah, no, 100%, Stevie. And this is the sad part of it, is because we've been here so many times before, and it's so boring, and it just knocks the stuffing out of you. And as I say, we're here within 7 weeks because the results have been poor. Our pre-season was poor. We weren't good in our pre-season. In my opinion, I don't think we were good in any of the pre-season games, really, apart from a couple of second halves when we brought a few different players on. And, like some Middlesbrough had already give us a good footing bashing in the first half. Yes, we brought new players on and played them, but we were a fresher team. But even if you get 2 goals against Middlesbrough, is that anything to really rave about, in a pre-season match? But you're sort of thinking, look, maybe not, that's just sort of thinking maybe it'll just take a wee bit longer for it to work out, and we'll wait for the process and we'll see how it goes. And then you've got Motherwell away, and you're outplayed by them the whole time. Panathinaikos, I thought, were the better team in both legs. Somehow we got through. But yeah, it's all about winning sometimes more than the results. So you kick the can down the road a wee bit and go, it'll come good, it'll come good. Then you move on to Pilsen, where we had a good first half, a terrible second half, a second game against them. Dundee at Ibrox, where that's bread and butter stuff. You just go and beat them. We couldn't. Then Russell Martin comes out after in the interview in that game, Stevie, and saying we're a wee bit surprised, and the players were surprised how they set themselves up. Was he not watching the game against Hibs at the start of the season? He would have seen exactly how Dundee were going to set up. They didn't move out of their own half the whole game at home. So how were they going to play against us at Ibrox Park? Let's get serious. Then you go into you're sort of going to yourself, okay, we're going to get a tank in here. I said this on Monday Night Show. Someone is going to give us a severe beating if they take their chances. And we were lucky. The Motherwell match, the Dundee game, they had their chances. They were poor at finishing. The 2 games in Europe before we got the Brugges was similar. All the signs were there that we could take a tanking, but lucky enough, the strikers in their team just weren't on it. And then we came up against Brugges, and in 20 minutes, they took their chances, made us look pretty mediocre. And a bit like what Kenny said earlier there, I think it was very lucky that they, after sort of 30 minutes, they thought, job sort of done. Let's ease it off here. The tie's over. Let's not get any injuries. Let's not overextend ourselves. Let's just see how it goes. And yeah, we came in did a wee bit in the second half, Stevie, but that's enough. And as I say, because the Bruce team had already sort of put the brakes on, so they thought the tie was over, which in my opinion it is. And the fans are just sick of it. They've been through it for too long. We've had all these promises, and then you're listening to Russell Martin's interviews, and how can you excuse some of the comments from yesterday as well, Stevie, when you're listening? And if he had to come out and just been honest and says, you know what, he said, if he had to come out and just says that's an awful performance, and just been honest about it and says that's not good enough for the fans at Ibrox, the fans at Rangers who travel to these games. And he wasn't strong enough for me. He came out and he tried to defend it. He was talking about the second half and how much better it was. And if he's clinging on to that second half, Stevie, as some sort of hope for himself going forward, then I don't think he's going to be here too much longer. Kenny says there, how do you change this in the immediate term? The only way he changes this, Kenny, for me, and he won't do it, is simplify the game and play. Just make it simple, easier for the players that you have. We have players there that just cannot play the system. I think you would both agree with me on that. They just don't have the ability to do it, and he's forcing them to do it. And we're seeing the likes of John Suter play the ball out in the back. John Suter is a Scottish centre half, 30 years of age. You watch him for Scotland, and he's a good big siege mentality defender. He is. I watch him anytime I'm watching Scotland play. He's good at that. See this playing out from the back, Stevie. He can't do it. and he forces him to do it, and we wonder why we're seeing mistake after mistake. So it's the ball's in Russell Martin's court. If he wants to change this, he's going to have to change his system, and I just don't think he's going to do it.
As we move on to the players who shouldn't be missed in all this, I will say this about Russell Martin. Nobody on this podcast is sitting thinking that everything's okay and that we would unequivocally back Russell Martin and that, we have to give it time. There isn't time. We talked about it all summer. You don't get time at Rangers. He had to hit the ground running to even stand a chance in the eyes of support, and he's not done it. If he continues the way it is, then I really struggle to find out how it's going to get better. And here's a big issue I have. For those that watch the press conferences, you will have seen me go at Russell Martin a few times. I asked him last week, I said it was a concern for the support, the amount of chances that teams are creating against us because we're wide open. And it feels like when a good team gets a hold of us, we will concede lots of goals. Asked him his thoughts on that. Last night, I went at him again and said, once again, we are wide open. And he said that the second half was better. And I understand that. Well, the level, the bar for the first half was pretty damn low, so it couldn't have been any worse, really. There was only one goalkeeper active in that second half last night, guys, and that was Jack Butland. And he once again stopped it from being a lot worse. Now, Jack, for the first goal, we can argue who was what, but if Jack Butland had a poor night last night, we're conceding 6 or 7 every single game. And this is why there's no credit for Panathinaikos, because everyone realises we got through the skin of our teeth. Pill's in the exact same. Motherwell created 5 clear big opportunities against us. 5. Dundee hit the post twice and scored and created another chance against us. Alloa scored twice against us and created chances. There's no point trying to sugarcoat this. This Rangers team is wide open, Kenny. And when you try and dissect last night, how many times did we, when we defend a corner, it would go wide and they would run in the side of our team, like run into the edge of the box and be clean in for other chances. We are so easily picked apart. One pass from the centre-back made it 60 yards to a striker last night and they turned and were in on us. There is so much wrong with it. Shape-wise, it looked like the first 30 minutes that we had just met in the car park and decided, right, boys, this is where we'll play and this is how we'll do, and you just go out there. The press is non-existent. The defence is non-existent. There is no leadership group out there at all. And I singled John Souttar out this morning. I'll do it again. John Souttar's leadership as captain was non-existent. The young fella at left back, Jaden McComa, was shouting at him several times during to get close, to get in positions, to come and take a shot, and he did none of it. That's our leadership group. And we're at a time where you concede that after a couple of minutes, you need somebody saying, right, boys, buckle in, 10 minutes, play our way back into the game, don't give them anything, kick them, make sure the ball goes out, and we regroup and go again. We've conceded a horror goal. We didn't. Everyone shrinks into their own wee bubble. And I'm talking about Diamande, Raskin, Danilo, Soutars, Butlands. There's no voices there, and that's the spine of your team, Kenny. As William said earlier, and he makes a very good point, surely we can't be surprised that the same players keep doing this. But the tactics aren't helping. I get it. But we should expect better individually than to be set up for a corner and watch 2 guys standing unmarked, ready to tap it into their goals as they did last night.
Yeah, I think it was actually 3 of them completely unmarked for the second goal. 3 of them. It's ridiculous. And the boys got all the time in the world to hit almost like a half-assed volley into our net. It's incredible. Where my issues lie, and I might take up the rest of the entire podcast, guys, so bear with me, but we're using this zonal marking for corners and set pieces, free kicks. It's not working, but that's 3 games in the bounce now. I believe I've lost a goal from a corner. It's not good enough. You sort that out for a start. We were told by Southampton podcasters that he doesn't know how to set up for set pieces, so that was a concern. The midfield, you're absolutely right. You said it again, but that's not the first time this has happened, Stevie, where one pass can split our midfield completely, like take them completely out of the game. We don't get our number 9 into the game at all. We don't know how to trigger a press. The issues are everywhere. They're all across the park. Jack Butland is not great with his feet. He's hesitant. John Souttar, I agree with you. Now, I'm a fan of John Souttar, and I agree with William as a seized defender. He is exactly that. That's what he's good at. Yeah. However, we are sitting there, and you're right, William. You've made probably the best point so far tonight about the spine of the team being exactly the same as it was last season and the season before, and we're not improving that in there. And it's high time that perhaps the new owners actually helped whoever the manager is, whether it's Russell Martin or anybody else. This is where I think the tolerance levels are non-existent. We have seen these players repeat these mistakes over and over and over again for far too long. And if you're going to have to play these players, 5 of the team that started last night were players that had been here previous to Russell Martin turning up. We know what to expect with this. However, the problem that we have now is that in just about every aspect of what we're watching, it's worse than it was even last season, in my opinion. Every aspect of the game, the set pieces are worse, the midfield, Nico Raskin and Mo Diamandi were decent enough players for us last season. Very decent in Nico Raskin's case, the second half of the season. Danilo, I just think the injuries have done him. I just don't think he's the answer now. John Souttar is not a left-sided centre half. Stop playing him there. It's not fair on him for a start. Whether he's good enough there or not, we can all debate. But he's a right-sided centre half. That's what he is. Max Aarons doesn't look any better than a shot to pieces James Tavernier. That's a concern. The issues are everywhere. Joe Rothwell, I thought, lost his composure completely at times last night. That's a 30-year-old guy that's played at the highest level of the game, and he was shot to pieces after half an hour last night at times. And if that's not Russell Martin's fault, then whose fault is it? That's all I'd say. That somebody has to take responsibility for this and fix it. And William's probably correct when he turned around and says, what he has to do is change this system and get the best out of the players he has. He's proven time and again he's not going to do that. So where we are is where we are, and I am genuinely more concerned at this point than I think I've been in a number of years about the direction of travel that Rangers are going in.
William, one of the things that I struggle with is if we're all grown up and behave like adults and say this is going to take time and we buy into it, right? Say we all did that, we should be seeing a wee bit of progress every game. Now, I set the bar really low, and people have understood what I've said in this podcast when I say I just want a wee bit of progress every game. It's the opposite. The regression is clear for everybody individually, but as a team, as a unit, we're not getting better. We're getting worse and getting exposed. Now, Brugges are a good side, a very, very good side, and you can argue and say, well, Stevie, look, don't overreact. But this isn't just Brugges. No disrespect. This is Alloa and Dundee, Motherwell, Panathinaikos, Pilsen. This is, and you even said it, go back to Middlesbrough. All these teams that are playing us are creating so many chances. Individually, we are not knitting together. We're not performing. It's regression every single time. And that's why people are so ferocious in their voicing of discontent, I think. Because see if there was wee chinks of light and little bits that we could need together and say, well, hold on, look, these things are happening. You can see where we're trying to go. The evidence for everybody is a complete opposite, because I'm seeing players that look lost. I'm seeing a press that doesn't work. I'm seeing a shape that doesn't work. I'm seeing individuals that are going into their shell and crumbling. Yes, they responded in the second half slightly, which we'll come to, but that's the biggest thing for me. We're regressing. We're not putting these performances together. We're not getting better. We're not taking the steps that we were maybe looking for them to take.
Yeah, 100%, Steve. That's the thing. You want something that you've got a map. You're 95% of the support, because when we done polls, and I'm sure you done polls and I've seen them, 95% didn't want Russell Martin at the time. So then I would say about 50-50. It sort of probably splits down to 50% will go, No, I'm not having him no matter what. The other 50% will probably go, well, let's see how it goes. He's our manager now. Let's get behind him. That 50% at least, or a good lot of the support are wanting to see Rangers do well. So you're clinging on to anything. We've seen Rangers get one goal yesterday, and the support really did get behind because they're desperate to cling on to anything. And then once we got that first goal, Stevie, straight away, I think it was about 5 minutes in, we had a wee, we were going for it. The next minute, went back to the defence and the old passing it back again, slowing the game down, usual nonsense, took the steam out of the support. And obviously, Bruce started to get into it again. And then it was, as you said yourself earlier, Butland probably actually did have to make more saves. But you say a good point there, Stevie, and something that worries me. Now, the manager tells us this is going to take time. It's going to be a lot of pain, but we'll get there eventually. Don't worry, stick with it. Okay, if I buy into that, and we all buy into that, I'm sitting watching our right back is alone, our centre back is alone, our left back is alone. So let's just say it does come good after the season's already gone, but we start to play well after a few games, and we're 15 points behind, but it's okay. Because the team's starting to get it now. We're starting to think about next season. How good are we going to be next season? Well, there's your defence isn't even going to be there next season. So what does that mean? Does that mean you have to get more players in who's going to have to learn the system and you're going to have the same problems again and start? You know what I mean? I just don't understand it. I don't understand the transfer policy. Like, even the likes of the Mendy transfer, Stevie, if you get him in defence, he's another player who's unproven, played maybe 11 professional games. We need leadership in that team. We need people in that team that can look at others and say, you're playing fucking shite. You need to up your standards because you're making me look like an idiot here. And you're fucking, you know what I mean? That's what they need to do. We don't have anyone that can do that. All we have is John Suter doing this. That's what you see him doing. Every game, he puts his hands out pointing, you know what I mean? And everyone else is pointing to each other and who to blame and looking around. Instead of having players that's in that team that can grab each other by the scruff, and go, we're way off it. We were 2-0 down yesterday. We had nobody in that team that could sit there and rally each other around, apart from a young player that's only through the door at left back who was doing the shouting. That shouldn't be him. He shouldn't be shouting at our captain. And that tells you what the issues are, Stevie. We have plenty of them, but that is another one of them. And as I say, you think about it next season and you're going, we're going to have to change it all again, and we're going to have to go through this process all again. It's a bit of a nonsense, guys, unfortunately.
I just want to quickly say, see the way you say and swear, it's phenomenal. That accent, it just makes it sound absolutely brilliant. A lot of love for you in the comments, William, because I think you're right. I can't disagree with that. But we can't build a full team at once. I think that there needs to be some context to what we're trying to do, and we needed 15 players this summer. So I kind of get it. The biggest issue for me is why it all came in defence, and that's probably a discussion for another time. Gentlemen, where do we go from here? There's a lot of people saying in the comments, right? What do we do then? Do we just want him to sack him? I don't think any of us sitting here wants Russell Martin to be sacked. What we want is a Rangers team that's competent and to be winning. We want Russell Martin to fix that. That's job one. Nobody sits here and wants him out the door because it isn't an obvious answer. There was a headline today in one of the red tops that said Steven Gerrard's already been spoken to, and then you read it and you realise that it was to do with the 49ers and Leeds last season. That's absolute nonsense. So there's a lot of clickbait, but it's already started from the red tops. They'll try and get you in and talk about that sort of thing, Kenny. Russell Martin has to adapt. He has to fix it. He has to make Rangers win. And not only does he have to make Rangers win on Sunday at St Mirren, he has to go there and not give up 6 chances, not be wide open and get a result, because that won't do anything for anyone. Rangers need to somehow tighten up, be dogmatic, get through this until players can start to breathe a wee bit and thrive. The issue is, Kenny, as you and I both know, there's not a chance Russell Martin changes this. There's not a chance he changes his system. There's not a chance he changes his beliefs, which leaves us in a position where we go to St Mirren on Sunday, who are very well set up by somebody I regard. Stephen Robinson as a fantastic coach. I think he's great. I really do. And he will set them up. And by the way, the Bruges coach said, we were sitting there, he said, we knew where the space would be. St Mirren will know where the space is on Saturday. They've got strong forwards. They've got players that can cause us bother the way we defend and the way we are playing. We go to St Mirren on Sunday, and it's it was difficult at best of times last year because of the levels we're at. We go there on Sunday, Kenny, and you're asking for it if you go there and play the way we did last night and play as openly as we have done in previous games. And yeah, that might be negative. It's just the truth.
Of course, it's the truth. I've already said this, mate. The results are all that matter at the minute. I couldn't give two hoots if it's the most ugly game of football ever. We have to start winning games. Unfortunately, we have, and when I say unfortunately, I don't mean it in a personal sense, but we have a philosophy manager that is more intent on building the way he plays and the way his team plays than anything else. It appears, because at the end of the day, as I already said, we don't defend set pieces properly. St Mirren are brilliant at them. Stephen Robinson's brilliant at setting his team up. He's brilliant defensively. They're structurally a solid unit. We don't create chances to break down a team like that. We're not creating anywhere near the amount of chances that we need to score enough goals to win games. And the midfield just looks powder puff. So going over to St Mirren Park on Sunday fills me with dread at the minute, because all you need to do is look back to last season when we clearly weren't right last season. But St Mirren turned up at Ibrox twice. We beat them 1-0 in the first one. And the big boy Olisanya, that's not there anymore, ragdolled Robin Proper, I think it was, about the place until he get taken off. They beat us at Ibrox the other time. They beat us with a Jack Butland. If you remember the game with Jack Butland, gave the penalty away at St Mirren. And in the last game, I think it might have been the last game of the season, last season, I think we drew 2 each, and they should have beat us in that as well. So we don't play well against St Mirren. We haven't done for a while. And that's my concern, that you're asking me, how do we go about changing this? Have a structured back four and midfielders that can create space and opportunities for our wingers to get the ball into the box, to get our number 9 into the game. This isn't rocket science. This is football. It's about scoring goals and defending your own goal properly, and we're not doing either. So Russell Martin doesn't have his troubles to seek, because that's about as awkward. I wouldn't say it's the toughest game. It's about as awkward a game as you could possibly get after the kind of the vitriol from last night. You know that if we don't start that well, you know as well as I do, Stevie and William, that the away support, they'll let you know if it's not good, and that is the issue that we have at this minute. I keep saying it, and again, as I say, I'm feeling that I'm repeating myself. There's no patience left. Go and get results. It is nothing more and nothing less than what we have to do. It's just get some results, because it will give him and his new team a little bit of breathing space. But those next 5 fixtures are, on paper, are torture.
Yeah, William, it's going to be a difficult fixture on Sunday. I don't see him change it, as I said. But how would, I'm going to ask you how you would change it, but I think every single one of us would go 4-4-2 or 4-5-1 and shore it up a bit and make it difficult for team to play against us. And then surely we'd use Ant-Man and Gassama, who we'll come to in a wee minute. And he does deserve some praise, so we'll get there with that, folks. Honestly, there is some positivity somewhere, even if it's slight. But ahead of that game on Sunday, William, it's all right saying how would we change it and what would we do, but we're not going to change it. It will be 4-3-3. Last night was a perfect example to go with 2 6s and sit in and be a wee bit more pragmatic and take our time about it. We didn't do that. We're not going to do it on Sunday in Paisley, which means, just like I said to Kenny, I don't see it being any other than standing in that away end on Sunday, basically with your heart in your mouth, because you're wondering, how are we going to get through this without conceding, and how are we going to win this game? And the biggest thing that I want to say as well is we had 1 shot on target last night. That's not enough. We're at home in Europe, and we're one shot on target. We are not creating enough. Our nines are ineffectual in this formation, and we need to fix it quickly.
Yeah, 100%, Stevie. It doesn't matter who we play. It doesn't matter what the team is. Our nines are never in the game, or very, very rarely. Even when Egeman came on, you seen where he was right wing. He was, he was dropping down to the halfway line, everything to try and retrieve the ball, and then trying to do all the work up the pitch because he doesn't have that link man with him, so he has to sort of do it by himself. But I'll tell you one thing, guys. Stevie Robson is he's actually from where I'm from, my part of the world here, and he'll be a Northern Ireland manager someday. I have no doubt about it. He's a good manager. He knows what he's at this level. Then that's if he wants to be Northern Ireland manager, if he wants that pressure in years to come. But I think when Michael O'Neill, when his time's done, Stevie Robson would definitely be in for a shout for that job. I rate him highly that way. And we're going to watch the same thing we've watched the last few seasons, a bog standard Scottish League player called Gogic, and he will bully us in our box and he will bully us in his box. The same old nonsense that we see season after season. And this will happen again on the weekend. And you know what it is, lads? It's a flip of a coin. It doesn't matter who we play in the Scottish League. Doesn't matter if it's Hearts, St Mirren, Dundee, Falkirk when we go way down to there. It is literally a 50-50 toss-up because there's chances galore. Well, mostly galore against us at the minute. And it's just, if Butland's good on the day and we're lucky enough, we get a few breakaways and everybody does the right things at the right moments, we'll make it a couple of goals. And that you cannot be like this at Rangers Football Club, and it's every single season. It's the same thing, and you're wondering to yourself, how it can't get any worse next season. You know what I mean? We say this, it can't get any worse. It gets worse. And then you go, well, it can't get, like, come on, Queen of the South, and it can't get worse again. And then you're looking at what you're seeing at the minute. And, you've Dundee at home with Stephen Presley. That was a meme in Scottish football. Everyone was like, oh, we really see when everyone gets Stephen Presley's team. He'll not last it. He comes to Ibrox and he gets himself a result. And as I say, St Mirren has been tough. Kenny said it there. They've always been tough for us. And Stevie Robson will not be going there to play for a draw. He will be going for 3 points this weekend. That is an absolute fact. And as I say, it's a complete toss-up whether or not he'll get them, because they could, Stevie, they really could get a win against us. I do hope that everything clicks into place and we start to get a run of results, of course, because we all want Rangers winning. But if you're just asking me now, as a guy looking with my eyes, and I'm not a big tactics fella, I just look and see what I can see, and I don't know where that's coming from.
Big problem, I think, is that my wee fella plays for Barhead under nines, and I would trust them to score against Rangers at the moment, and that's the biggest issue. So when we go on Sunday, anything can happen. Kenny will get accused of trying to polish the proverbial turd, and I think it most likely is. But a wee word for Jerry Gassama last night, who was terrific. And the more the game went on, while others shrunk, while the true apparent leaders in the group shrunk away, I thought the balls in that young boy was terrific. He wanted the ball. He tried to make it happen. He was unlucky. It was a foul. The law states it doesn't matter if a goalie has it in his hands or he has a finger on the ball. He's in control of the ball. So it was always going to be a foul, unfortunately. But I thought he was terrific. He makes a goal with Mikoma, who I thought, again, going forward, offered a lot defensively. I thought Suter and the gaps between held him, you basically hung him out to dry. But those two, on a night that, let's be honest, was pretty shit, they two were the ones that had at least some positivity around them. And Gassama, I think, looks like a player for us.
He's the one shining light that we've had so far this season for me that you could look at and say he's a game changer. He really is an impactful game changer. Everything that was good about anything that we did last night, which wasn't huge amounts, let's not kid on here, but anything that was decent about Rangers last night came down the left-hand side for me. There was, as I say, there's nothing on the right. There's very little going through the middle. And that's kind of worrying me already, that Philip Clement's side were being accused of being a moments team. And already anytime we managed to get it forward, we're instantly looking for Gassama. I think, weirdly, I thought Ant-Man was and this might sound strange because I thought Gassama was out as wide. I just thought Antman couldn't really get in the game. I don't know if it's just because of the shape that we were in that Antman found it really tough to get on the ball. And I don't know if it's just the fact that the boy behind Makoma was just very decent on the night, where I thought Max Evans was pretty poor. The left side functioned better, but yeah, we've stolen him off of Sheffield Wednesday. That's what I would say. We've got him for what, 2.2 million quid, and he looks clearly a very, very talented young boy. And as I say, when you look at that left hand side, I think they're 39 years of age between the two of them. It's maybe 40. 19 and 21, is that what they are? It's embarrassing actually when you look through that Rangers team and you see some of the experience in it, and it's two kids that you're kind of relying on, isn't it? It's not good enough.
One thing I would say, William, is that Tello Asgard didn't really affect the game as much on the ball, but if you watch it back, he's going to need to get fit and all that. We know that. His introduction on the left side freed up Gassama quite a bit, and it allowed Gassama to really involve himself in the last 15, 20 minutes. He was dead on his feet, Gassama, but he had the balls to keep going, and he did. But Asgard helped him because he takes up that kind of inside position, which effectively going forward actually worked for us. And you can see there might be some joy in there, because I thought we really troubled Bruges down that side, because Asgard's movement really helped free up Gassama when he was going forward. And to be fair, some of Tab's running from left back was really quite decent as well. And the three of them on that side done okay attacking wise. We've got to hope somehow, William, that Asgard can get fit quickly and help that midfield, because I think that's key. He'll need time, but we don't have time, which is another big problem, as you know. But that Gassama last night, I'm not trying to say everything was wonderful, but I did think he deserves some credit for his individual performance.
Yeah, no, 100%, and I agree with you with the Asgard thing when he came on. And sometimes it's and you do need to watch back sometimes, Stevie. I'm sure you've watched the games back yourself, and it's like sometimes it's what people don't do on the ball. It's the work and effort they do to make the space somewhere else, to maybe put another player in. So, like if Gassama then is free to do his work that he needs to do, and hopefully Asgard. And I've, as I say, I've watched a few of his games before he actually come up here, and decent player. I think he will come good as he gets fit. Gassama has been absolutely fantastic for me, and sometimes I don't even think would be as playing Bruges if we're being honest, if we didn't have that fella, because it was mostly his goals and his individual bits of play that got us here. It was not nice bits of play from a team perspective. It was just Gassama gets the ball, drops his shoulder, lovely finish, and his just determination. He was unlucky with that second one. Obviously, the keeper just got his hands on it, and I was raging at the time. I was like, he never had control of that ball, but the rule's the rule, and that's unfortunately it just didn't work for us. But again, that guy nearly single-handedly got us into that tie, a tie we should never have been. He got us through a Panathinaikos game we should never have got through, and a Pilsen game in the second leg that we shouldn't really, or if you look at it, it was a disaster. So we need a few of our players, and I can't believe I'm saying this, our so-called leadership group. Take a wee look at your left-hand side, a young fella who's only come in the team. Show him more balls than you boys are. Show him more heart than you boys are, and is playing for that shirt a lot more. And I'm sure he's not getting anywhere near the wages some of them boys are getting in that team. They should be looking at him and thinking, if that's the effort he can put in, what the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean? But it's not going to happen because they are what they are. That's my opinion, and I hope I'm wrong. I just have seen too many players, Stevie, do the same things, and they're going to keep letting us down. They're going to let down managers down. We can get rid of Russell Martin tomorrow. I know I'm just going off again, sorry, but we can get rid of Russell Martin tomorrow. If you want, get rid of him and get someone else in. Get Stevie Robson, get whoever you want in. The same players will let the next man down. It's copy and paste every season. But yes, Gassama, Asgard, these kind of players, the wee man on the left back, They done really well, I have to say, and I think they can be something to build on for us. But you're looking at very, very small positives because you've got so much going wrong that it's outweighing the positives.
Yep, and sadly, folks, I think we could talk all night about this. There's a lot of people asking, what about Diamandi? What about Raskin's performances? And they're right, that was miles off. I commented on it earlier. I think we could all go quite a bit, Kenny, and talk about individually, everyone, collectively as a team, the manager, everything. It needs to be 100% better, that's for sure. But, Kenny, thank you so much for joining me. As ever, it was a tough shift last night. Tonight wasn't much better either, in terms of wanting to discuss things. We just want to be positive. We want to get behind this team. And William made a comment, and he's right. I said this to you last night. See the way the fans responded to one goal. We're desperate for anything. We are desperate to latch on to anything, as small as that goal last night, to give us a glimmer of hope. That's all we want. It's all we want when we come on here, is to actually talk about being excited and talk about positivity. We're not being given it.
No, nothing like it. And, you know, we on here at Four Lads, we're no different from any other supporter in terms of how concerned and worried and terrified we are of what we're watching. But we aren't. And I understand people's frustrations and they're blaming everybody and anything, but we can only just say it as we see it. And hopefully tonight kind of addresses some of the comments from last night where we were getting accused of all sorts, mate. And you just look at it and go, well, what you might do? We're just watching a game of football. But what really pissed me off last night, mate, was that you blamed me for the performance. I remember you said, I blame you. Can't remember why. I think it's because...
It's because you were there. You were there.
Yeah. And listen, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Thanks, William. Brilliant guest, as a few folk have already said. But see you next time you come on, mate. Shave that head of yours.
We'll never make him do that. We need to get the percentage up. William, absolutely fantastic guest. Thank you so much. You will be on again. We're going to keep doing this. Because I will say, folks, Hands Across the Water podcast is a fantastic podcast. It's a fantastic platform. I would ask you all to go and check it out and go and subscribe, because it's well worth it. But William, honestly, fantastic, mate. Thanks for coming on. Nobody swears better than you. I think that's quite clear. But I think genuinely, by the amount of people that were agreeing with you and the amount of positive comments on there, we really appreciate you coming on, mate.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Now, water keeps coming up. But no, thank you very much, though. I appreciate you for letting me come on and listen. I wish people were actually saying in the comments, he's talking a load of crap, this Rangers team's great, but unfortunately, it's not the case. But you don't want to come on here, lads. You know it yourselves. We don't want to come on here and be negative all the time. But unfortunately, we can only say what we see, and that's it. But what I will say just before I go off, and I'll be gladly come on here anytime, but just for you, Stevie, I have to say, mate, we're just a wee small podcast. We're starting out. You came on our podcast. You didn't have to do it, mate. You reached out and you asked, and it done really good for us. The amount of people, I think it's our best show ever, views wise. And you've also invited me onto your platform. It won't be forgotten, mate. It's very much appreciated. As I say, the Northern Ireland voice, it's hard to get it out there sometimes because people see the red hand and stuff and they label us with this and that, as you know. But we're very proud of where we're from over here. And thank you very much for giving me a platform to come on and put my voice across. I really appreciate that.
It's our pleasure, William. As I said, you're more than... We will do this again. And as I said, I love the boys podcast. I love the support we get from Northern Ireland, and it's very important to me that when there's a Rangers podcast out there, that we support it and we do everything we can, because it should be. See, the more Rangers podcast they are, and it doesn't matter who it is. This is Ibrox, Heart and Hand, Follow, Rangers Rabble, anybody that's out there genuinely, and I'll have missed several because there's so many good platforms that we all thrive together, and that's the whole point of it. We're a family together, and yeah, we might disagree at times on certain performances or whatever, but that's the nature of it. It's all here for opinion. So we go again folks, we go Friday night to review St Mirren. That'll be a joy. And we'll have a couple of new different faces on at the weekend for that one as well. What have we got coming up? We have Gordon Smith interview tomorrow for YouTube members. That is the Rangers year, so that follows episode 1 and 2. Mark Hateley's one is still available. If you are a YouTube member and you want to watch, please do. Gordon Smith is excellent. We hear about Jock Wallace and trebles and all sorts. He's very good. Interesting comments on John Gregg as well, which aren't to be missed. So there's a lot to unpack there. That's live tomorrow, and we'll be back Friday night, as I said. Match day vlog on Sunday. I am in the away end at Paisley with Jim and the gang from Rhino, so we will do a match day vlog from there. Please just make it be good. That's all I want. Just make it be fun. That would be nice. Just to address something as well, folks, and I'll very quickly take a minute of your time. A lot of people saying, Stevie, get in there at press conference, get him told we don't want him. We don't, he has to go. It's not my responsibility, folks, at a press conference to tell the Rangers manager that he's not wanted and that he has to go. It's my job to put questions to him that people want to ask. Like last night, people wanted to know, why are we so wide open? Ask him about the defence. Why are we so easy to play against? That's what I'll ask. It's not my job to go down there and give him opinion and ask him. As much as I might want to say stuff like that, I can't do it. And it's not what should be done. And you'll see from mainstream media and other members of fan media, it's not done. When I said it to Philip Clement and asked him if he wanted to resign after Queen's Park, or was he going to resign because the fans don't want him, the reaction I got to that was pretty difficult to deal with. Because as much as 90% would say, you've done really well, thanks for saying that, there's 10% that go after you personally, and it's difficult. So please bear that in mind when we're doing shows or we're doing podcasts or we're asking questions in the press conference and that. We're only doing our best. We are Rangers fans, the same as everybody else, and include Kenny and include William in that, who's been fantastic for us tonight. So please, as we said, go and sub. That's the word I'm looking for, and follow William's channel, Hands Across the Water podcast. It is fantastic. You'll see it on Facebook as well as YouTube and things like that. Go and have a look at it and check it out. And for ourselves, please like and subscribe. That really helps us. We're fast heading towards 10,000 subs. It's unbelievable. So really, thank you for all your support. Thanks to our sponsors, Rhino Express, Clyde Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions, CSD Air Conditioning, and our partners, Black Rooster and Art of Gold. We've kept you for an hour, folks. Thank you for hanging on with us. Thanks again to William for being such a great guest. Have a good couple of days, folks, and we'll see you all again on Friday as we do this all over again. Friday night therapy for Rangers. Have a good couple of days, folks. Take care. Bye for now.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.